House Resolution 838, the gentlewoman from Colorado, Ms. Boebert, and a member of the opposition will each control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Colorado.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I rise today to offer my amendment that utilizes the Holman Rule to reduce the salary of Director of Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, Elizabeth Klein, to $1. Ms. Klein is a radical environmentalist and a partisan hack comprised by special interests and mired in ethical conflicts. Her conflicts of interest were so severe that even Senator Manchin voted to block her nomination as Deputy Secretary of the Interior. As Deputy Director at the New York University School of Law State Energy and Environmental Impact Center, Klein placed and paid the salaries of legal fellows in state attorneys general's offices to advance Michael Bloomberg's radical environmental agenda. The use of private money to conduct public business is ethically flawed. And Indiana's Attorney General categorized Ms. Klein's program as a, quote, arrangement through which a private organization or individual can promote an overtly political agenda by paying the salaries of government employees, end quote. In just the first year of the program, SEEIC fellows participated in filing at least 130 regulatory, legal, and other challenges to President Trump's policies. Now, Ms. Klein is working for the federal government and on the other side of lawsuits that she helped file. Under President Biden's own ethics rules, she should be prohibited from participating in matters involving her former employer. During her testimony to the House Committee on Natural Resources, I questioned Ms. Klein about her failed nomination to become Deputy Secretary of the Interior. I asked if she had been provided with a recusal list and formally requested that she provide this list to the committee. Ms. Klein told the committee that she was happy to provide the list. Shamefully, it took a letter from the committee and this aggressive committee questioning for Ms. Klein to send the committee a very delayed recusal list that should have been in place almost immediately after her hiring. Ms. Klein spent several years funneling money from Michael Bloomberg to sue the Trump administration and pay for the Green New Deal lawyers she had placed in attorneys general's offices across the country. Given her myriad of federal lawsuits and conflicts, there should be little to nothing Ms. Klein is allowed to work on at any sub-agency within the Department of Interior. Senior federal employees are required to be transparent in their ethical obligations and act impartially, placing their sole loyalty to the Constitution and the laws of the United States. Ms. Klein's history of infiltrating state governments with Michael Bloomberg minions and supporting lawsuits against the federal government makes it impossible for her to meet the ethical obligations that her position of public trust requires. Ms. Klein's continued employment as director of the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management has been ridiculed with a controversial and extensive history of ethical conflicts and is a stain on the Department of the Interior and the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management. Radical partisan extremists have no place in the federal government, especially those in charge of our energy industry. I urge my colleagues to support my amendment to restore integrity to the Department of Interior and the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management. Mr. Chair, with that, I reserve.
Gentlelady reserves. For what purpose does the gentlelady from Maine seek recognition?
Mr. Chair, I rise in opposition to this amendment.
Gentlelady is recognized.
Mr. Chair, this amendment is petty and punitive. Rather than pursuing grudges against public servants and spewing inaccurate and disrespectful information, my colleagues across the aisle should focus their energy on negotiating with the Senate on a bill to fund the government. I urge my colleagues to reject this amendment, and I yield back.
Gentlelady yields. Gentlelady from Colorado is recognized.
Mr. Chair, I yield.
Gentlelady yields. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentlewoman